Welcome back to Books and Bites. This time we're diving into a book you suggested, Games People Play by Eric Berne. Just glancing at it, it's got me rethinking how we, well, talk to each other. It's about, like, these hidden games we play in relationships without even knowing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Bernays' work, it was a big deal because he gave us this framework, transactional analysis. It helps us understand these patterns, almost like a guidebook to, why conversations go the way they do. Sometimes good, sometimes not so much.
So we're cracking the code here. Transactional Analysis, or TA, where should we even start?
Well, TA is all about ego states. Bernays says we all work from three main ones: the parent, the adult, and the child. You can picture them as different parts of us that come out depending on what's happening.
Like, we've got this inner parent, adult, and child inside all of us, always there.
Exactly. The parent, that's like the voice of authority. All the rules and values we learn growing up can be critical, but also nurturing. Think of it like that voice saying, you should or you shouldn't.
Oh, yeah, I know that voice. But what about the adult? What's that like?
The adult is the rational one, grounded, the problem solver, stays calm, looks at things logically. When we're in our adult state, we focus on facts, not really on feelings.
Okay, that makes sense. And then there's the child, huh? The one who, I'm guessing, causes the most trouble.
Well, the child, that's where the emotions are. Spontaneous, playful, but also can be vulnerable. Childhood experiences really shape this one, and it can come out in good or bad ways.
I see how these different states, they could clash in a conversation. Big time.
And that's where these games come in. Now, Berne doesn't mean game like it's fun. He uses it to describe, well, repetitive patterns. Often we don't even realize we're doing it when we talk to people.
So these games, they're actually causing problems, not solving them.
Often, yeah. And the thing is, each game has a structure to it. There's a hook, that's how it starts, then the response where the other person plays their part, and then the payoff. And that payoff, a lot of times, it's not a good feeling, not healthy.
Like we're in a movie, stuck with a bad script and the same awful ending every time. But why do we keep playing if it's not good for us?
That is the question. Sometimes it's to avoid real closeness, real intimacy, because it feels safer than, truly opening up. Other times it's about control or trying to prove our beliefs about ourselves and other people, right?
Getting deep here, I'm already thinking back on my own conversations. Like, what games am I playing? Do you have any examples we might recognize from our own lives?
Bernan, he has a whole bunch of games listed out, put into categories based on where they happen, like life games, marital games, all sorts. One that's really common is if it weren't for you. Ever heard someone say, if it weren't for my job, my partner, my parents, I'd be so much happier?
Yeah, all the time. It's like they're not taking responsibility for their own, I don't know, their own choices.
Right, that's the game playing out. They avoid dealing with their own stuff by blaming things outside of themselves for why they're unhappy. Another example, this one's a marital game. It's called Courtroom. Couples who do this, they're always bringing up old arguments, fighting over who's right and who's wrong.
Oh, I've seen that one. They're more focused on winning than actually fixing anything.
Exactly. They get a quick feeling of being right, but their relationship, it takes a hit in the long run. Really shows how these games, they can be sneaky, but really damaging to how we connect with each other.
Okay, now I'm getting a little worried. Is everything we do just a bunch of these games? Is there any hope for, like, truly connecting with people?
That's where awareness comes in. Just by understanding these ideas, we can start to see the patterns in ourselves and others. And once you see it, you can start to change it.
Okay, that makes me feel better. So knowing about these games, that's the first step to breaking free.
Exactly. It's about noticing those hooks, those responses, the payoffs that keep us trapped in these bad cycles. But we'll get into how to actually break free in the next part of our deep dive. So, as we keep looking at these games, important thing to remember is Berne, he didn't want to make all human interactions sound bad, just wanted to help us see these patterns we don't even realize we're doing so we can, have better relationships.
Yeah, I get that. It's not about putting labels on ourselves or others, but just like understanding what's going on under the surface. So before we get to like breaking free from these games, any other examples you think would be helpful for the listener? I mean,
oh, for sure. Let's look at this is called a party game. It's why don't you yes but. This one's a classic. It's the person who they're always asking for advice, but then every suggestion they shoot it down.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Like they don't really want a solution, right? They just want you to agree their problem can't be fixed.
Exactly. That's how they stay in the victim role. And it can be, well, really frustrating for people who actually want to help.
Kills the conversation, Dad. Any other party games we should watch out for?
Ain't it awful? That's another popular one. People bond over being negative, complaining, everything on the bad stuff instead of solutions.
Like, misery loves company, right? We've all been there, everyone trying to, like, one-up each other with how bad things are.
Yeah, it's tempting to join in, but really it just makes that feeling of helplessness and negativity even stronger. Now, switching gears a bit, we also have, remember life games? We talked about If It Weren't For You earlier. Another one is, well, it's called Now I've Got You, You Son of a Bee.
Whoa. Okay, that sounds intense. What's that one about?
That game is all about setting someone up to fail and then, pouncing on their mistake.
So, like, it's intentional. Sabotage?
A lot of times, yeah, it could be giving bad instructions, not telling them everything, or creating a situation where, well, they're bound to mess up and the payoff, feeling superior, in control.
Man, that's pretty messed up. It's fascinating, but also kind of scary to think how much of what we do is driven by stuff we don't even realize.
It is, yeah. But remember, awareness is the first step. We're not like stuck being controlled by our past. We can choose to change things.
Okay, so we've spotted some of these games. We're starting to see the patterns. What's next? How do we actually get out of these games and start, being more real with each other?
Well, Berne, he has a three-step process. First is awareness, which we've been talking about. Then it's changing how we respond, and then changing how we act.
So just knowing about the games isn't enough. We have to actually change how we play them.
Exactly. We'll get into those next two steps in more detail in just a bit. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll give you the tools to break free from these games and build better relationships.
Okay, we're back and ready to tackle the big question. How do we actually break free from these games? Start interacting, in a real healthy way. We talked about awareness, but what's next?
Right. Awareness, it's essential, but it's like just the beginning. Berne's next step is all about changing our responses. Instead of just reacting the way we always do, we got to consciously choose a different way to react.
So we got to stop those automatic reactions, the ones we don't even think about that keep us like stuck in the game.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of times it means shifting from, a parent-child kind of interaction to a more, well, mature adult exchange. Less blame, less criticism, less getting defensive, and more open, honest, respectful communication.
Sounds easy enough, but I bet it's a lot tougher when you're actually, in the middle of it. Any tips for actually making that shift?
It takes practice, definitely. One thing that helps is to just pause before you react. Take a breath, step back from the situation, like in your mind, and ask yourself, what am I trying to do here? Am I trying to win, or am I trying to actually connect with this person?
Yeah, that pause, it could be so helpful. It gives us a chance to choose a response that fits with the kind of relationship we want. Okay, so we've become aware of the game. We're working on changing how we respond. What's the final step to breaking free?
The last step is changing how we act, our behavior. This means recognizing what we're getting out of the game, even if it's not good for us, and then choosing a different outcome, a different result.
So it's about figuring out like why we keep playing these games and then finding better ways to get those needs met.
You got it. Let's say you realize you often play that If It Weren't For You game, blaming your partner for your own unhappiness. Instead of doing that, try acknowledging your own part in things. Take responsibility for your feelings and needs and tell your partner directly what they are.
So instead of blame and like avoiding stuff, it's about owning up to things and working together.
Exactly. It might feel weird at first, but over time, this new way of talking to each other, it'll become more natural. And the payoff, this time it's a good one. More real connections, deeper intimacy, and a feeling of freedom from those old destructive patterns.
Wow, this has been really eye-opening. Games people play gives us a whole new way to look at our relationships.
It's a book that can, change how we interact with everyone. Even just knowing a little bit about these concepts can help us break out of those bad patterns and build more meaningful connections.
Absolutely. To our listeners, if you're intrigued by this stuff, we highly recommend you grab a copy of Games People Play. The link's in the episode description. It's a must-read if you want to, get better at communicating and have better relationships. And don't forget to subscribe to Books and Bites for more insightful book summaries and deep dives into all sorts of fascinating topics. Thanks for joining us.